to be paid a night shift allowance. And that's why we said it must be in the agreement and we will never pull back. You would be shocked with the kind of irritation that employers were telling us yesterday. They were telling us this is very expensive. In fact, it's about 12%. And in fact, per annum, this will cost about 22 million. Meaning that there's 22 million of our members, money that is due to them that they deserve to have, which employers are holding back. Which is why we're taking it to a task team. We will be going back to the Department of Labor to say there's no longer an agreement now that exists. This is an issue of enforcement. A dual driver, if you're driving from Johannesburg to Cape Town, you are a driver, you left your family, you deserve to be paid. Immediately you are in the bus. And these employers, in fact, some of them said, this is not our problem. Some employers are paying their bus driver immediately they get into the bus. But there are those who say, listen, we will not pay. As long as you are in that bus, you are not having your foot on the pedal, we will not pay. And that's what we reject. And we think if we have a government that was also decisive, that was serious about road safety and well-being of workers and communities, this is an issue that government as well must intervene. And part of what we think we will do collectively as union will also to have a discussion about the future of this industry on how these issues that government itself need to intervene to ensure that we don't just have unnecessary strike that are plunging communities as our communities have suffered in the recent past.
Any other questions? Yes? Your name, please, and your...
Good afternoon. My name is Wisani Makubele from SABC Radio News. This issue of backdating, what reasons are advanced by the employers for not wanting to backdate? I mean, when you look at it, it's basically 1 month going back to April. And the second question is, are we going to face a possibility where maybe the employers will say, because you're not accepting now, we are going to withdraw this offer and you're going to have to start again from scratch?
Well, I must say that as unions, we stand together with our members. We sometimes perish with them. We will not be blackmailed by employers. There's an offer on the table. If they choose to go back to their notorious tendencies, they will do that at their own peril. We're not here now to mobilize for a continuation of a strike. We're saying employers must come to the party. Let's end the strike, pay workers the back pay. This is what workers want. And really, we do not think that we will be provoked. And I must say that workers have been having a very peaceful strike. In our view, if employers were to take that position, that would be a reckless, provocative stance that they will be taking. From where we're sitting, workers remain united as a rock across the 9 provinces behind their strike. It will be stupid of employers to do so. And that is why we're saying we are going to persuade employers to come to the party. At the same time, we'll also have a discussion with our members, because to say the honest truth, this is selfishness on the part of employers. It is basically gambling about the lives of the working class who are basically directly and negatively affected by this strike. They don't care because it is our Black and African communities who basically have no reliable public transport to go to and from. And we're saying, look, this strike must come to an end this weekend. Employers must help us to do so. We'll also be engaging with our members to look on every avenue. And if employers are thinking that, look, it's hostility because they want to punish workers, that would be a very, very inferior kind of a thinking, because these workers are going nowhere in this industry. We are united as unions. We are going to be strong. If employers are going to show that attitude, it will also mean that we must plan and see to it, how do we become spiteful for them next year? I mean, the bottom line is that we have not taken this strike during Easter's, which is something we did last year, because we feel for our communities. But I must tell you that the kind of this attitude is actually hardening the attitude of our members to say, you see, we should have struck during the Easter weekend so that employers can actually have the real losses. And this is not what we think. And we think that that's why we're saying government need to come to the party. We need to make sure that this industry, because it is transporting our communities, government must come to the party around incentives, around subsidizing this industry to make sure that we have a reliable public transport, and workers who basically transport workers to and from home are not robbed broad daylight. They are night shift allowance, and if you're a dual driver, you must be paid what you deserve. And we actually want to tell employers now that they must begin to budget for the money which is in their pocket, that it must go back to people who deserve, which is workers.
Okay. Last round of questions, please. Okay.
I'm still on the 1924. If can you put us in the picture of how have the employers responded to your stance right now?
Well, the difficulty this afternoon, is that we're not negotiating with them direct. We will phone one of them who's basically talking to the rest, trying to come to the party. And I must say that from where we're sitting, we don't think that employers are united on this, but there must be notorious, verkramte, conservative individual employers who are basically arrogant, who are spiteful. And I mean, there's absolutely no reason. This is open provocation. That's how we see it, and we will be requesting them to meet with us very soon, tonight or in the morning. But also, there are no holy cows. Ourselves as unions, we must take a reflection on this question, because it will mean that continuing to punish our community for a back pay, that's the issue now of about 17 days. That's the predicament we're sitting with. But this strike does not belong to us. This strike belongs to workers. We can only persuade workers. We can only engage them. And but these employers, they must also know that as workers feel that they are losing, they are actually making these workers to be militant, to be ready for battles ahead. And what we really celebrate this year, we celebrate SATAU, NUMSA, and all other unions that are here, that we stood together. We didn't allow these employers to divide and rule. And our view is that it will be important that in ending this strike, as unions, we must stand together. Workers must go back to work united, and be ready to face the future battles.
I'd like to invite any of the leadership from the other trade unions if they'd like to add to what the GS of NUMSA has said before we wrap this up.
That's the position of labor. We just stop there. Nothing more.
All right. Well, in that case, we want to thank you once again, and thank you for your patience and for coming out. Those of you who would like quick one-on-ones, please come to me now and we can arrange them. Thank you so much.